So there I am, standing in my parents' living room, a place I've associated with warm holidays and boring Sunday dinners my entire life. It feels different now. It feels like a courtroom. My mom is on the verge of tears, my dad looks like he's just seen a ghost, and my now ex-girlfriend, Chloe, is staring at me with a look of pure, unadulterated hatred. In my hands, I'm holding the ridiculously expensive designer handbag my parents bought her for her birthday last week. Or rather, what's left of it. I've taken a box cutter and systematically sliced every single panel of the imported Italian leather into ribbons. The pristine white lining is shredded, the gold-plated hardware is dangling by a thread. It's a massacre of luxury goods. And I just look at them, my voice is eerily calm, and I ask a simple question. Let me ask you guys one more time. Are you absolutely 100% positive there wasn't a $60,000 engagement ring hidden in a secret compartment inside this bag? The silence that follows is so thick you could choke on it. The color drains from Chloe's face. My parents just stare, completely baffled. You see, they have no idea what's going on. But Chloe does. And the gears are turning in her head. The sheer, frantic panic is blooming in her eyes. It's a beautiful thing to watch. But to understand how I became the guy who would destroy a purse that costs more than my car, we have to go back 8 days. Back to a time when I thought my life was perfect. Back to Chloe's 26th birthday dinner. Let me set the scene for you. I'm Mark, 28 years old. I've got a decent job in tech, nothing crazy, but I pay my bills and I've been able to save up a good chunk of money. For the past 2 years, I've been dating Chloe. And Chloe? Well, Chloe is the kind of girl you see on Instagram and wonder if she's even real. She's gorgeous, always perfectly put together, and she has this magnetic energy that just draws people in. Our relationship was great. Or so I thought. We lived together, we talked about the future, kids, a house in the suburbs, the whole 9 yards. I was head over heels. The only thing that ever seemed a little off was her obsession with the finer things in life. She wasn't just into fashion, she was a student of it. She could tell you the difference between a Birkin and a Kelly from 100 yards away. She knew the release dates for new collections like other people know their own birthdays. I just figured it was a hobby. An expensive hobby, sure, but I have friends who spend thousands on vintage guitars or fantasy football. To each their own, right? My parents, bless their hearts, absolutely adored her. They're simple, blue-collar people. They worked their butts off their whole lives to give me and my sister a comfortable life. To them, Chloe was this sophisticated, worldly woman who was going to elevate their son. They saw her as a sign that they'd done a good job. So for her 26th birthday, they decided they wanted to do something huge. My mom called me a month in advance, her voice buzzing with excitement. Mark, we want to get Chloe something really, really special. Something she'll have forever. We think she's the one. I was touched. And I agreed. I told them, she is the one. In fact, I'd been planning to propose for months. I had the ring. It wasn't just any ring, it was my grandmother's. A beautiful, classic diamond ring from the 1940s. It was simple, elegant, and full of history. It was the most valuable thing our family owned, not in terms of money, but in sentiment. I'd had it professionally cleaned and resized. It was sitting in a safe in my closet, waiting for the perfect moment. So we all go out to this fancy Italian restaurant for Chloe's birthday. Me, Chloe, my parents, and my sister, Amy. The dinner is great. Everyone's laughing, telling stories. Then my dad clears his throat and slides a massive, elegantly wrapped box across the table. It's from one of those brands that doesn't even need a label on the box. You just know it's expensive. Chloe's eyes go wide. She lets out this little gasp. Of course, her phone is already out, recording for her followers. This is prime content. She carefully unwraps it, her hands moving like she's performing surgery. Inside, nestled in layers of tissue paper and a silk dust bag, is a handbag. It's one of the most iconic, sought-after models. I don't know much about this stuff, but even I could tell this was a big deal. The kind of bag you see in magazines, on the arms of celebrities. I knew what it cost, because my parents had consulted me. It was more than my dad made in 2 months. It was a staggering, almost insane gesture of love and acceptance from them. Chloe started crying. Real, actual tears. She was gushing. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. She got up and gave my parents these huge, dramatic hugs. My mom was beaming. My dad looked so proud. I felt a surge of happiness. This was my family. This was my future. But then the first weird thing happened. After all the photos were taken, all the oohs and ahs were done, she meticulously placed the bag back in the dust cover and then back in the box. She closed the lid. It was like she was putting a museum artifact back into storage. On the car ride home, I said, "You should wear it tomorrow. Show it off to your friends." She shook her head, clutching the box on her lap like it was a newborn baby. "Oh no, 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 no. It's way too special. I can't just wear it. I need to save it for a really, truly special occasion." I frowned. "Babe, my parents bought it for you to enjoy. A bag is meant to be used." "You don't understand," she said, her tone a little sharper than I expected. "This isn't just a bag. It's an investment piece. Its value will go up over time. I need to protect it." I dropped it. I figured she was just overwhelmed. It was a huge gift. Maybe she needed a few days for it to sink in. The box sat in our closet for the next 3 days, untouched. On the 4th day, I came home from work and saw her taking pictures of it. Not with her in them. Just the bag, from every conceivable angle, with perfect lighting. "What's up?" I asked. She jumped, startled. "Oh, nothing. Just documenting it for my blog. You know, for a post about iconic handbag designs." It seemed plausible enough. But something felt off. That night, my sister Amy called. Amy is younger than me, but she's way more cynical and street smart. "So," she started, no preamble. "Has Chloe actually used the golden purse yet?" "Nope," I said. "Says she's waiting for a special occasion." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Mark," she said slowly, "you know people flip those bags, right? Flip them? Like sell them? Yeah. If it's a hard-to-get model, they'll buy it and immediately sell it online for way more than they paid. It's a whole market. They call them super fakes or something." "No, wait, that's the knockoffs. They just call it reselling. They don't even use them. The whole point is that it's brand new, with the box and all the papers." A sick feeling started to pool in my stomach. "No way," I said, trying to sound confident. "She wouldn't do that. She cried when my parents gave it to her." "Yeah, well, I'd cry too if someone handed me 5 figures worth of resellable merchandise," Amy quipped. "Just keep an eye on it. That's all I'm saying." I hung up the phone feeling angry. Angry at Amy for even suggesting it. How could she be so cynical? Chloe loved my parents. She loved me. This was a gift of love, not a commodity. But Amy's words had planted a seed of doubt, and that seed started to grow. The next day, I was putting away some laundry, and I bumped into the designer box in our closet. It shifted, and it felt wrong. Lighter than it should have. Emptier. My heart started to pound. I told myself I was being paranoid. I was letting Amy's stupid conspiracy theory get to me. But I couldn't shake the feeling. The breaking point came a week after her birthday. I had planned a romantic weekend trip for us. A little bed and breakfast by the coast. This was it. This was where I was going to propose. I was packing my bag when I said, totally casually, "Hey, you know what this weekend is? A really, truly special occasion. The perfect time to finally break out the new bag." The reaction was instantaneous and bizarre. She went into a full-blown panic. "Oh, no, I can't," she said, her voice high-pitched. "The weather forecast said it might be drizzling. I can't risk getting a single drop of water on it." "It has a leather protectant on it," I said, "and we'll have an umbrella." "But the salt in the air? It's terrible for the hardware. It can cause pitting over time." I read it on a forum. "Chloe, we're not going to be, like, swinging it over the ocean. We're going to a nice restaurant." "It just doesn't go with the outfits I was planning," she finally burst out, her eyes wide with desperation. The excuses were so flimsy, so transparent. It was like watching a terrible actor forget their lines. And in that moment, I knew. I just knew. My blood ran cold. I felt a strange calm wash over me. I waited until she was in the shower, the sound of the water masking any noise I might make. My hands were shaking as I walked to the closet. I reached for the big, beautiful, expensive box. I lifted the lid. The silk dust bag was there, but it was limp, lifeless. I reached in and pulled it out. And inside was a bag. It looked, from a distance, like the real thing. The same color, the same shape. But the second I touched it, I knew. The leather felt stiff, plasticky. The stitching was just a little bit crooked. The gold hardware had no weight to it. It felt like cheap, coated aluminum. It was a fake. A good fake, a super fake, as Amy would say, but a fake nonetheless. I felt like I was going to be sick. I stumbled back and sat on the edge of our bed, the counterfeit monstrosity in my lap. Where was the real bag? The one my parents had poured their savings and their hearts into? My eyes landed on her laptop, which was open on her desk. Curiosity, or maybe some primal need to know the full extent of the betrayal, took over. I walked over to it. The screen was open to her email. And right there, at the top of her inbox, was a confirmation. Congratulations. Your item has sold from a well-known luxury resale website. I clicked on it, and there it was. A picture of the bag. Her bag. With the description, brand new in box. Never used. All original packaging and proof of purchase included. It had sold 3 days ago, for a full 25% more than my parents had paid. I felt the air leave my lungs. This was real. Amy was right. Chloe had taken their incredible, heartfelt gift and flipped it for cash like it was some stock she was day trading. The tears, the hugs, the gushing thank yous, it was all a performance. A lie. I was about to close the laptop, my mind reeling, when I saw another open tab. It was a jeweler's website, and on the page was an engagement ring. But it wasn't like my grandmother's. This thing was a monster. A huge, gaudy, multi-carat rock surrounded by a halo of smaller diamonds. It was the kind of ring a rapper's wife would wear. Tacky, ostentatious, and unbelievably expensive. My heart, which I thought couldn't sink any lower, dropped into my shoes. Why was she looking at this? And then I saw the last tab. It was her messages, open on the web client. A conversation with her best friend, Brittany. I scrolled up, my hands trembling so hard I could barely control the mouse. Brittany, did you get the bag? Chloe, OMG yes. It's insane. They spend a fortune. Brittany, lucky. You're gonna look so good with that. Chloe, look good? Girl, I'm not wearing this. This is capital. It's already listed. Brittany, LOL, you are a savage. What for? And then, the message that broke me. The series of words that shattered the last 2 years of my life into a million pieces. Chloe, Mark is going to propose soon. I can feel it. And you know he's going to use that dusty old ring from his grandma. It's sweet, I guess, but it's just not me. So I'm building my own ring fund. I figure I'll let him propose with the old one, and then I'll accidentally lose it or damage it, and we can use the insurance money to help pay for the one I actually want. The money from this bag is the down payment. I had to read it 3 times before it registered. She wasn't just a liar. She wasn't just a user. She was a monster. She was going to take my grandmother's ring, a piece of my family's soul, a symbol of a love that lasted for 60 years, and accidentally lose it, to replace it with this gaudy chunk of compressed carbon she bought with my parents' money. At that moment, something inside me snapped. The grief, the shock, it all curdled into a cold, hard rage. An anger so pure and so clear that it was almost peaceful. I knew exactly what I had to do. I didn't confront her when she got out of the shower. I was perfectly pleasant. I told her I had a sudden headache and asked if we could postpone our trip until the next weekend. She readily agreed, probably relieved she didn't have to keep up her flimsy excuses about the bag. The next morning, I called my parents. Hey, I said, my voice cheerful. Chloe and I were thinking we should all get together for brunch today. My treat. To celebrate her birthday again. They were thrilled. I told them to be ready at noon. Then I called Chloe. Hey babe, quick change of plans. My parents want to take us out for a post-birthday brunch. We're heading over there now. She agreed, none the wiser. I took the fake bag and put it back in the official box. I took my grandmother's ring out of the safe. And then I went to the garage and got my box cutter. I calmly walked into the living room and sliced that counterfeit bag to absolute shreds. It was surprisingly cathartic. Then I put the shredded pieces back into the dust bag and into the box. It was time for the final act. Which brings us back to the living room. Me, holding the destroyed bag. Chloe, white as a sheet. My parents, looking utterly lost. Before Chloe can even begin to formulate a lie, I calmly walk over to the coffee table and lay out a few sheets of paper. They're printouts. The confirmation of sale from the resale website. The listing for the giant, tacky engagement ring. And a full, uncensored transcript of a text conversation with her friend Brittany. You see, I say, my voice level, addressing my parents but never taking my eyes off Chloe. Chloe was so grateful for your gift that she sold it 3 days after she got it. For a tidy profit. Because she needed some extra cash to upgrade the dusty old engagement ring she assumed I was going to give her. I reach into my pocket and pull out the small, velvet box. I open it, revealing my grandmother's beautiful, timeless ring. This ring, I say, holding it up for my parents to see. Their eyes fill with recognition, and then with dawning horror as they start to understand. She was planning on faking a robbery or an accident to get rid of this, so she could have the ring she actually wanted. My mom lets out a small sob and covers her mouth. My dad, a man who rarely shows emotion, looks at Chloe with a mixture of disgust and disbelief I've never seen from him before. Chloe finally finds her voice. It's shaky, pathetic. He's lying. He's crazy. I would never. Mark, why are you doing this? Am I lying, Chloe? I ask, gesturing to the papers on the table. Are these texts fake? Is that sale confirmation a forgery? She's cornered. She knows it. So she does what all cornered animals do. She attacks. You're pathetic. You're a pathetic, jealous man-child because I have expensive taste. You can't handle a woman who knows what she wants. I almost laugh. Oh, I can handle a woman who knows what she wants. I can't handle a conniving, manipulative, heartless gold digger who would use my parents' love and sacrifice as her personal ATM and who would plan to throw away a piece of my family's history. There's a difference. And that's when I deliver the final blow. The checkmate. I look from Chloe to my parents and back again, which is why this is all so confusing. I mean, the reason I cut the bag open in the first place was to get the real present out. Everyone freezes. What? My dad whispers. I lean in, a conspiratorial look on my face. See, I was going to propose this weekend. I thought, what's the most surprising way to do it? So I had a jeweler create a hidden compartment in the lining of the new handbag. And this morning, I was going to hide this ring. I say, holding up my grandmother's ring, inside the bag. But when I went to do it, I realized the bag was a fake. So then I thought, oh my God, where's the other ring? I turn my full attention to Chloe, whose brain is practically smoking as it tries to process this new information. So I'm asking you, Chloe, are you absolutely 100% positive there wasn't a $60,000, 3-carat diamond engagement ring from Tiffany's that I had already hidden inside that bag when you shipped it off to some stranger on the internet? Because if there was, you didn't just make a small profit. You made the stupidest financial mistake of your entire life. Of course, I was lying. There was no second ring. There was no hidden compartment. But she didn't know that. And the look on her face, the sudden, gut-wrenching realization that she might not have just been cunning, but that she might have been an absolute, world-class idiot, it was better than any revenge I could have ever dreamed of. She just stood there, sputtering, for a full 10 seconds. And then my dad, in the quietest, most final voice I've ever heard him use, just said 2 words. Get out. She looked at him, then at my mom, then at me, searching for an ally. There were none left. She grabbed her purse, her other purse, a less expensive model, and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The aftermath was messy. My parents were devastated. They felt foolish and betrayed. It took a long time for me to convince them that it wasn't their fault, that they were just good people who got taken advantage of by a world-class predator. My mom cried for a week. My dad just kept shaking his head, muttering about how he never really trusted her smile. Chloe tried to contact me, of course. A barrage of texts and calls, alternating between furious accusations, tearful apologies, and desperate pleas. I blocked her number. I blocked her on every social media platform. I packed up all her stuff from my apartment and left it with the doorman. As far as I'm concerned, she ceased to exist that day in my parents' living room. I heard through a mutual friend a few months later that her life took a nosedive. The story got out, as these things do. The luxury resale site she used had a zero-tolerance policy for fraud, and when they found out she had sold an item and then was involved in some kind of dispute, they banned her account. Her influencer dreams kind of fizzled out when her content dried up. Apparently, it's hard to project an image of effortless wealth when you're not scamming people for it. As for me, I took that trip to the coast by myself. I took my grandmother's ring with me. I sat by the ocean and thought about what love and value really mean. And I realized I had dodged the biggest bullet of my life. The ring is back in the safe, waiting for someone who will see it not as a dusty old thing, but as a promise. Someone who understands that the best things in life aren't things at all.